Short and sweet. Doing a retrofit on these NX headlights. Or any headlights. Take all the clips and extra shit that's on it. You know, everything that can come off of it, take off of it. You can take these off. I didn't feel like it. It's not going to matter, so I just left these brackets on. But yeah, get all the things off of it that you can pull off of it. I don't like to pull these rubber things off because they're usually old and dry rotted, and they're on there pretty damn good, and they rip when you try to take them off, so I'm just going to leave it on there. Put it on a, pan, and then pop it in the oven, 270, put 7 minutes on your stopwatch, whatever, and just go ahead and check it every so often, after 5 minutes, just so you know things aren't melting, especially ones with plastic lenses. These are glass, so I have a little bit more leniency with the heat, but because plastic will start melting, glass won't. So and these are too hard to really, this is like super hard plastic, or not even plastic. It's probably, I don't know what kind of material it is, but it doesn't really melt like thin, soft plastic like in newer headlights. So I'm going to pop that in, and I'll be back as soon as I start peeling it, get it out of the oven, start peeling it open. While you're waiting, go ahead and get some gloves, because it's going to be hot when it comes out of the oven. Get some gloves and some tools, flathead screwdrivers, something to help you cut the glue that glues the lens onto the housing, and wait for the timer to go off to pull it out. So I didn't need the whole 7 minutes. It took I checked it after about 5.5, and you can see with very little effort it comes apart. When you pry on glass, instead of like plastic where it just bends, glass will chip. It leaves the glue there in that little trench. You can see how where it came out perfectly, it's nice and smooth, and then where I had to rip the glue, it's wavy and lumpy. It's good to do it smooth, so when you put it back in, you can make sure it's evenly distributed and you don't get any condensation issues. You go ahead and take anything on the inside out that was for the halogen and reflector type bulb that was in there. Which would be this thing. And now get your HID projectors and go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and test fit everything before I record and get it all in. First things first, get your projector, put on gloves, that way you don't have to worry about smudging up the glass and cleaning it off later. No fingerprints on there, because you will get fingerprints on there if you touch it with greasy fingers. First thing you're going to do is just take this H1 bracket off where the bulb goes. First you'll take the bracket out, then you'll take these 3 screws out to pop that off. So yeah, take that off, take off the locking nut, take off the washer. Now, here's your other hardware. You only use this one if you're doing a conversion with an H4, a headlight that was an H4. But I'm doing these are 9004, so I'm going to be using this one. You need this big silicone washer, goes on the back of the projector. like this. And this is going to push up against in here to help seal it. But first, we're going to get the shroud on. Gonna find some screws. You're gonna slide this on here and line up the holes with these holes and just put the screws in. Little tip: put all four in. Start all four before you screw them. Tighten them all the way down, because sometimes if you tighten one down, it'll kind of bend this plastic and the holes won't line up. So just start all four of them and then tighten them, you know, all down together. The next thing you're going to do is test fit it in here. Now, what you can do with this is the plug for the actuator, for the little high and low actuator in there. You can drill a hole back here on the bottom, and you can take this plug off and then feed these wires through a hole in the back here. You can see, drill a hole and feed them through, and then put the plug back on. Or what I've also done is you can feed it through here. This is where you'll size up the shroud and try to figure out if you have to trim it or not. Fortunately, these just fit, and that's where your lock nut will go back on there. And what you're going to do is find the other washer, or the small other silicone. You're going to pop that on first. Then you're going to take this metal washer and you're going to line it up. You're going to line it up with that groove and slide it down. And I take this, and you see the openings up here, like this opening. You can feed the wire out on that opening so that it doesn't crush your wires. After you were able to get them on your car and adjust the projector to how it needs to be, where you like the cutoff and everything like that, then you'll come back, take this back off, tighten the lock nut as tight as you can get it. Just be careful because it's soft material and you don't want to strip any of the threads on the back of the projector. So tight it is hand tight, pretty good, so it's not moving anywhere. Then put this bracket back on for the bulb, and you're ready to get the lens back on. I'm not going to do a walkthrough on how to put the lens back on because I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If you got this far, then you can probably figure out the rest. But there's two methods that I've used in the past. The obvious method is to bake the oven again, same temperature, 270. Do that same exact thing to warm up the glue. Then pop the lens back in, squeeze it as hard as you can while it's soft, and then you'll get your clips or whatever, the parts that you took off, and you'll clip them on. Then as long as you can get these clips on, that should mean that the lens is far down enough and these clips will hold it. And there's one here, and then two on the bottom for me. And then you can put all your other parts back on the lens that you took off and just let it cool, and you're good to go. Another method that I use to cool it, if I am worried about melting, maybe say the wiring, or I don't know, I just don't want to be harsh on the projector, I will get clamps and ice packs and a heat gun, and I will take the heat gun and I'll heat up a section, and I'll take the clamp and I'll clamp it and hold it there, and then I'll get the ice pack and just use the ice pack to cool down that section faster so that I can unclamp it, move the clamp to the next section, heat that up, you know, squeeze it, then cool it, move to the next section until I go all the way around and the whole thing is on. And that's basically it.